8:14 now on your Thursday morning, and the Cleveland International Hall of Fame recognizes those who have made a valuable and lasting contribution to our diverse region and inspire a new generation of leaders. 3 News anchor Russ Mitchell recently sat down with its president, Dan Hanson, to talk more about this unique and important local organization.
And good morning, everyone. We were joined by Dan Hanson, the co-founder of the Cleveland International Hall of Fame. Dan, thanks for coming in. It's great to see you as always.
Great to be here.
You know what? It's interesting. You and I met, 13 years ago, almost 14 years ago when I got here, and you told me about the International Hall of Fame. Found it fascinating. It's only grown since then. For folks who don't know what it is, how would you describe it?
Okay. So Cleveland is unique. We're home to people of about 117 different distinct ethnic heritages, which is very unique. There's not a lot of cities with that. And we think, and it was my sister, my mom, and me, we think that makes us a very more rich, exciting, fun, good city. There's a melting pot, and we're all in the same boat, but you don't want to be just one gray sludge. You want to be there like a tossed salad or a mosaic where all those cultures, the food, the faith, the music, all that are celebrated and distinct. Sure. But we're all Clevelanders.
Yeah.
So when we started, Debbie, my sister, and I started ClevelandPeople.com to cover and talk about all these different groups. And we started realizing there's some really amazing people who are doing things in the various ethnic groups. We said, they should be honored and rewarded, but their stories should be out there so they can also inspire the next generation. So we thought, what if we had, it's Hall of Fame? So it's 2010, and we said, we'll see what we can do, and hopefully we'll get 50 people or something all, and then all of a sudden, we sold out Sterling's, which is 300, and had a big waiting list, and we had Albert Ratner for a keynote and all this, and so it's
only grown since then. You spoke of your sister Debbie, who recently passed away, another wonderful person. You touched on this a moment ago, but you saw this need out there, but what was the thing that pushed you toward filling that need?
Well, we were seeing all this stuff, and we would go to all these events and meet the leaders in the grassroots, the ethnic communities, and we'd just be blown away and inspired. And we're thinking, other people should see this too. We'd see what they were doing either in their particular community. The first year, there's a guy named Dr. Du Duc Do. Sounds funny, it's Vietnamese, didn't speak English, but he was the only doctor that the Vietnamese community would go to. They trusted him, he spoke Vietnamese. He was a no-brainer for the Hall of Fame the first year. No one else knew him, though. We had some big names, too. We had, Margaret Wong and Alex Macheski and Senator Voinovich and all. Leo Weidenthal, who founded the Cultural Gardens, people like that. But it's the other little ones that are really inspiring, and people needed to know their story.
Do you think, again, you saw the need out there and you're putting it out there and people are more aware now. Do you think as a whole, this community is aware of just how important the international community has been and remains to be in Cleveland?
I think they're learning the importance, but they still don't know the scope that we have. We had an event there's an event last week at City Hall for Asian Heritage Day. And let's face it, when a lot of people, when you think Asian, you think Chinese, Japanese, Korean, but there were groups there from Bangladesh, Kazakhstan, Syria, groups like this, Sri Lanka, that people aren't aware that there's a community here in Cleveland that is representing them and part of that culture. So we need to take advantage of that and go to that Bengali restaurant or go watch a festival of the Sri Lankans or the Kazakhstan dancers or something. And I think that's something we try to do with Cleveland people, is just expose this so that people will, go there. And it's great, if you go to St. Patrick's Day and you're Irish, that's something. But when you go to Polish Constitution Day and you're Puerto Rican, that's when it's really cool. You broaden your world and you see what a cool city we have.
You're also very involved in the cultural gardens as well. When you look at the progress that's been made there over the past few years, are you satisfied, or how much more needs to be done in your mind?
I think it's the last 15 years or so we really grew. For a while it was very Eastern European centric, and then last 15 years or so, it started to grow. We got our first garden from Africa, which is the Ethiopian garden. We didn't have any Hispanic gardens, which was ridiculous. So now we've got about 6 either in the works or, up. We still need a Puerto Rican. I keep pushing my Puerto Rican friends. You're the largest Hispanic group. Let's get that garden going. But it's growing. We're getting Middle East, and it's reflecting Cleveland. You know, as Cleveland grew, early it was Italians and Germans and Poles and all, but later, you know, the African Americans migrated up, and then now we're getting Middle Eastern and African and South American and all, and it's the reflection of Cleveland and the United States.